Scarcity is one of the most powerful psychological triggers that drive human behavior. When something is rare or limited, its perceived value increases. This principle applies not just to material things, but also to people. When you are always available, always present, and constantly seeking attention, people may start to take you for granted. They assume you will always be there, and as a result, they may not fully appreciate your presence. However, when you create a sense of distance, when you step back and let people experience life without you, they begin to recognize the space you once filled. Human psychology is wired to desire what it cannot easily have. People naturally crave things that seem just out of reach. The more accessible you are, the less exciting you seem. When something is always within grasp, it loses its charm. Think about luxury brands or limited edition items. Their high demand often comes from the fact that they are not easily obtainable. The same applies to relationships, friendships, and even professional dynamics. When you are constantly available to others, your presence becomes ordinary. But when you make yourself less accessible, people start noticing the void you leave behind. Creating scarcity doesn't mean cutting people off or being manipulative. It means recognizing your own worth and setting boundaries that naturally make people value you more. Sometimes people need to feel your absence to truly appreciate your presence. If you are always the one initiating conversations, making plans, or being overly accommodating, others may not recognize your true significance. But when you take a step back, they start to realize the effort and energy you brought into their lives. They begin to miss the warmth of your company, the depth of your conversations, and the positivity you added. Relationships are often a reflection of how much effort both parties invest. If one person is always giving while the other is always receiving, an imbalance occurs. The giver may feel unappreciated while the receiver becomes complacent. When you create space, you allow others to step up and show their appreciation for you. This principle applies in both personal and professional settings. In friendships, stepping back can reveal who truly values you and who only engages when it's convenient. In the workplace, if you are always available to handle every task, colleagues may begin to assume your contributions are effortless. But when you strategically pull back, they start to recognize the weight of your work. Absence amplifies emotions. Think about how music becomes more meaningful when there's a pause before the chorus. The silence makes the return of the melody even more impactful. In life, your absence can have the same effect. It allows people the time and space to reflect on what you mean to them. When you remove yourself from constant availability, you give others the opportunity to feel the difference between your presence and your absence. That contrast is what makes them realize your true value. Scarcity also teaches self-worth. When you step back, you are making a statement that your time, energy, and presence are not to be taken lightly. It's an act of self-respect. It shifts the dynamic from chasing validation to being recognized for your genuine contributions. It shows that you are not someone who will be there just because others expect you to be. Instead, you are someone who values yourself enough to allow others to miss you. When you are always around, people may not consciously acknowledge the role you play in their lives, but when you create a little distance, you give them the chance to reflect on what you bring to the table. It's in your absence that they truly understand the difference you make. Silence is a language of its own, more powerful than words when used wisely. In a world where everyone is constantly talking, reacting, and trying to prove a point, the ability to stay silent is an underrated skill. People often believe that the more they express, the more control they have over situations. But the truth is, silence holds a different kind of power. It makes people curious, forces them to think, and sometimes even compels them to take action. When you master the art of silence, you shift the dynamic in your favor, making your presence more impactful even without saying a word. The first thing silence does is create intrigue. When someone always responds immediately, always has something to say, or is constantly available for conversation, their presence becomes predictable. But when you choose to stay silent at the right moments, people begin to wonder what you're thinking. They become more invested in figuring out your perspective rather than assuming they already know what you would say. This curiosity draws them in, making them pay more attention to your presence even when you are not actively speaking. People tend to value what is not easily accessible, and when your words become rare, they gain more significance. Silence also gives you control over situations. When emotions run high, whether in personal relationships or professional settings, most people rush to react. They want to defend themselves, prove a point, or express their feelings immediately. However, reacting in the heat of the moment often leads to saying things that might be regretted later. On the other hand, choosing silence in such moments allows you to maintain composure. It gives you time to assess the situation, think critically, and respond strategically rather than emotionally. This level of self-restraint not only prevents unnecessary conflicts, but also makes others respect you more. They see you as someone who is in control, someone who doesn't get easily swayed by emotions or external pressure. In conversations, silence can be a tool to command attention. Many people fear awkward pauses, but those who understand their power use them to their advantage. When you speak and then pause, allowing silence to fill the space, it forces people to focus on your words. They wait for your next sentence with heightened interest because the silence creates a sense of anticipation. This technique is often used by great speakers, negotiators, and leaders to ensure that their message leaves a lasting impact. The pause between words can sometimes be more powerful than the words themselves. Another advantage of silence is that it teaches people to value your responses. When you don't always offer immediate opinions or reactions, your words carry more weight when you do speak. If someone is used to you always engaging in discussions, they may take your words lightly. But if you strategically choose when to speak, people listen more attentively. They know that if you are saying something, it must be important. This shift in perception can influence how you are treated in social circles, workplaces, and even personal relationships. Silence is also a form of boundary setting. When people push your limits, expect instant responses, or try to engage you in unnecessary drama, your silence becomes a way of saying that you will not entertain negativity. It is a powerful way to communicate without engaging in conflicts. Instead of arguing, explaining, or justifying yourself, silence sends a clear message that some things are not worth your energy. This form of detachment teaches people how to treat you. They begin to understand that you are not someone who will always respond for the sake of responding. In professional settings, silence can be used to gain an advantage in negotiations. When you make a statement and then remain silent, the other party often feels pressured to fill the void. This can lead them to reveal more information or even adjust their stance in your favor. Many skilled negotiators use silence as a tactic to get better deals, knowing that most people are uncomfortable with pauses in conversation. By staying quiet, you create an opportunity for the other person to speak more than they intended, giving you insights that you can use to your advantage. Silence is also a way to protect your energy. In a world where everyone is constantly talking, debating, and seeking validation, being silent allows you to conserve your mental and emotional resources. It helps you filter out unnecessary noise and focus on what truly matters. Instead of wasting energy on every situation that demands your attention, you can choose when and where to invest your words. This selective communication ensures that you are not drained by meaningless conversations and that your energy is spent on things that truly add value to your life. Focusing on self-growth is one of the most powerful ways to elevate yourself in life. When you prioritize your own development, you naturally create a shift in how people perceive you. Many individuals spend their time seeking external validation, trying to fit into certain social circles, or constantly proving their worth to others. However, the moment you start focusing inward and working on becoming the best version of yourself, the need for external approval diminishes. People are naturally drawn to those who are evolving, those who are on a journey of self-improvement, and those who radiate confidence through their progress. Self-growth starts with self-awareness. Understanding who you are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and where you want to go is the foundation of becoming better. Many people go through life without ever truly reflecting on themselves. They remain stuck in the same patterns, repeating the same mistakes, and wondering why things don't change. But the moment you decide to evaluate yourself honestly and identify areas that need improvement, you set yourself apart. Growth begins when you stop making excuses and start taking responsibility for your life. It's about acknowledging that you are a work in progress and embracing the journey rather than waiting for external circumstances to change. One of the most effective ways to focus on self-growth is by continuously learning. The world is constantly evolving, and those who invest in knowledge and skills never remain stagnant. Reading books, listening to podcasts, attending workshops, or learning new skills all contribute to personal evolution. The more you expand your mind, the more valuable you become. People are naturally drawn to those who have wisdom, who bring fresh perspectives, and who are always growing. When you invest in learning, you not only increase your knowledge, but also boost your confidence. Knowledge gives you the ability to navigate life's challenges with clarity and purpose. Physical and mental well-being also play a significant role in self-growth. Taking care of your body through exercise, proper nutrition, and healthy habits is a reflection of self-respect. When you prioritize your health, you show that you value yourself. Similarly, mental well-being is equally important. Practicing mindfulness, managing stress, and developing emotional intelligence allow you to handle situations with a clear mind. Growth is not just about external achievements, it's about internal stability. When you work on becoming mentally and physically strong, your energy shifts. People notice the change in your presence, the way you carry yourself, and the confidence that comes from within. Surrounding yourself with the right people is another crucial aspect of self-growth. The company you keep has a direct impact on your mindset, habits, and overall progress. If you spend time with people who are constantly complaining, settling for less, or resisting growth, you may find yourself stuck in the same cycle. But when you surround yourself with individuals who challenge you, inspire you, and push you to be better, you naturally elevate. Growth happens in environments that encourage progress. Choosing the right influences in your life ensures that you are constantly motivated to improve. Taking risks and stepping out of your comfort zone are essential for self-growth. Many people stay in familiar situations because they fear failure or uncertainty. However, growth only happens when you challenge yourself. Trying new things, facing fears, and embracing change allow you to expand beyond your current limitations. The most successful and fulfilled individuals are those who continuously push themselves beyond their comfort zones. Every challenge and every failure is a lesson that contributes to becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. Focusing on self-growth also means setting goals and holding yourself accountable. Without clear goals, progress becomes uncertain. When you have a vision for where you want to go, you are more likely to take action and stay committed. Setting short-term and long-term goals keeps you motivated and provides a sense of direction. However, goals alone are not enough. Discipline and consistency are what make the difference. Growth requires daily effort, small improvements, and the commitment to keep going even when results are not immediate. When you prioritize self-growth, you naturally develop a sense of self-worth that does not rely on external validation. You stop chasing people, stop seeking approval, and stop worrying about fitting in. Instead, you focus on becoming the kind of person who attracts the right opportunities, relationships, and experiences. The more you invest in yourself, the more valuable you become to the world around you. Actions have always spoken louder than words. In a world where people constantly talk about their plans, dreams, and intentions, the ones who actually take action stand out. Promises and words can only hold value when they are backed up by real effort. When people see consistent actions rather than just empty talk, they begin to take notice. This principle applies to every aspect of life, whether in personal relationships, career growth, or self-improvement. It is not about what you say you will do, but about what you actually do that defines how others perceive you and how much impact you truly make. Many people seek validation through words, constantly explaining their plans, defending their choices, or making promises they never fulfill. But those who truly succeed are the ones who let their results speak for themselves. When someone continuously improves, achieves milestones, and consistently works towards their goals, they do not need to announce it. Their progress becomes visible through their actions, and that is what commands respect. People may doubt words, but they cannot ignore tangible results. Consistency in action builds credibility. When you repeatedly show up, put in effort, and stay committed, people begin to trust your abilities. This applies in workplaces where employees who deliver results gain recognition, in friendships where reliability strengthens bonds, and in self-growth where discipline creates transformation. It is easy to talk about hard work, but only those who actually do the work experience real change. Actions create a legacy that words alone never can. Energy is best spent on actions rather than explanations. Many people waste time justifying themselves. trying to convince others of their worth or explaining why they are capable. But the most effective way to prove something is by demonstrating it. Instead of arguing about potential, putting in the work and showing results eliminates the need for validation. When progress becomes visible, explanations become unnecessary. The effort speaks for itself and people naturally take notice. Actions also determine how others treat you. When people see that you are serious about your goals, they begin to respect your time and energy. If you set boundaries and maintain them through consistent behavior, people will recognize that you are not easily swayed. On the other hand, if you constantly say one thing but do another, you lose credibility. Words may temporarily influence people, but actions create lasting impressions. In relationships, actions reveal true intention. Someone who values you will not just say they care, but will show it through consistent behavior. Likewise, if someone continuously makes promises but never follows through, their words lose meaning. Observing actions rather than relying on words helps in understanding people's true priorities. Genuine care, respect, and effort cannot be faked through words alone. They must be reflected in consistent actions. Growth and success are built on habits, not just motivation. Many people feel inspired and make big declarations about change, but only those who take daily action experience real transformation. Small, repeated efforts compound over time and lead to significant results. Whether it is improving a skill, building a career, or maintaining relationships, consistent actions shape the outcomes. Success does not happen overnight. It is the result of countless small decisions and efforts that build momentum. Opportunities come to those who take action. While some wait for the perfect moment, the right circumstances, or approval from others, action takers create their own opportunities. Taking the first step, even when conditions are not perfect, sets things in motion. Progress happens when there is movement, not when there is endless planning without execution. Those who take action despite fear, uncertainty, or doubt often achieve more than those who wait for ideal condition. The impact of actions lasts longer than words. People may forget what was said, but they remember how someone made them feel, what they did, and how they contributed. The legacy of a person is built on their actions, the work they put in, and the consistency with which they showed up. Traction is far more powerful than pursuit. Many people spend their lives chasing others, whether in relationships, friendships, or careers, believing that constant effort and persistence will earn them the attention and validation they desire. But the truth is, energy flows where confidence grows. When you focus on becoming someone of value, people naturally gravitate toward you. Instead of running after people, opportunities, or approval, shifting your focus to self-improvement, confidence, and purpose creates a magnetic presence that draws the right things into your life. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. It is not about arrogance or seeking attention, but about having a deep sense of self-worth that is not dependent on external validation. When someone is truly confident, they do not feel the need to prove themselves or seek constant reassurance. They carry themselves in a way that commands respect without demanding it. People are naturally drawn to those who know their worth, who do not beg for attention, but instead allow their energy to speak for itself. Confidence is built through self-awareness by understanding strengths, accepting weaknesses, and working on becoming the best version of oneself. Attracting rather than chasing also applies to relationships. When someone constantly seeks approval or tries too hard to impress others, it often has the opposite effect. Desperation can push people away, while self-assurance draws them in. Being comfortable with oneself, setting boundaries, and not forcing connections allow the right relationships to develop naturally. When a person values themselves, they do not tolerate being treated as an afterthought. They do not beg for attention because they know that the right people will recognize their worth without needing to be convinced. Personal growth plays a significant role in attraction. When someone is constantly learning, improving, and evolving, they create an energy that people want to be around. Success, ambition, and personal development make a person intriguing and inspiring. People are naturally drawn to those who are passionate, driven, and focused on their goals. Instead of chasing validation from others, investing in oneself makes others take notice. Growth attracts attention in a way that words never can. Emotional independence is another key factor in attracting rather than chasing. When someone is emotionally dependent on others for happiness, they give away their power. Being at peace with oneself, enjoying solitude, and not relying on others to feel complete create an undeniable strength. People who are emotionally independent do not cling to relationships out of fear of being alone. They do not force situations that are not meant for them. This kind of strength makes others respect and value them even more. Chasing often comes from a scarcity mindset, the fear that if something is not pursued aggressively, it will be lost. But true attraction comes from an abundance mindset, the belief that the right opportunities, people, and experiences will naturally align when the focus is on becoming the best version of oneself. Instead of desperately seeking, trusting in one's own value and letting things unfold creates better outcomes. Opportunities and relationships that are meant to be will never require begging or force. Body language and nonverbal cues also play a significant role in attraction. Someone who is always chasing often appears needy, while someone who is self-assured exudes a quiet confidence that draws others in. The way a person carries themselves, maintains eye contact, and holds their posture can communicate more than words ever can. People respond not just to what is said, but to the energy someone brings into a room. Attracting, rather than chasing, applies to success as well. When someone focuses on mastering their craft, being excellent at what they do, and delivering results, opportunities naturally come to them. Instead of begging for recognition, becoming someone who cannot be ignored ensures that the right doors open. The most successful individuals do not constantly seek validation. They focus on doing great work, and recognition follows. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to command respect. When people know they cannot take you for granted, they start valuing your presence more. Many individuals struggle with saying no, fearing that they might upset others or miss out on opportunities. But the truth is, without clear boundaries, people will only treat you according to what you allow. Learning to set limits and prioritize your own well-being ensures that your time, energy, and efforts are appreciated rather than expected. Boundaries define how people interact with you. If you are always available, constantly saying yes to every request, and never standing up for yourself, others may assume that your presence is guaranteed. They may not do this intentionally, but human nature often leads people to appreciate things only when they're not easily accessible. When you set boundaries, you communicate that your time and energy are valuable. This makes people think twice before assuming you will always be there to meet their needs without consideration for your own. Respect is earned by how you carry yourself. When someone repeatedly allows others to overstep their limits, they send a message that they do not value themselves enough to enforce boundaries. But when a person stands firm, communicates clearly, and does not tolerate disrespect, others take notice. People respect those who respect themselves. Setting boundaries is not about being rude or distant. It is about teaching others how to treat you by demonstrating self-respect. Emotional boundaries are just as important as physical ones. There will always be people who try to project their negativity, insecurities, or expectations onto others. If someone constantly seeks to drain your energy, control your emotions, or make you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself, it is a sign that a boundary needs to be set. Protecting your emotional space does not mean shutting people out, but rather deciding what kind of energy you allow into your life. When people see that you do not entertain unnecessary drama or manipulation, they learn to interact with you differently. Boundaries also play a crucial role in relationships. Many people believe that being endlessly available and sacrificing their own needs for others will strengthen connections, but in reality, it often leads to feeling unappreciated. Healthy relationships, whether romantic, friendships, or professional, thrive on mutual respect. When you make it clear what you will and will not tolerate, the right people will adjust accordingly, while the wrong ones will reveal themselves. A relationship where one person always gives while the other only takes is not balanced. Setting boundaries ensures that respect and appreciation remain at the core of any connection. Time is one of the most valuable assets, and those who protect it are often the most respected. If you allow constant interruptions, unnecessary obligations, or meaningless distractions to dictate your life, others will follow that pattern. But when you establish clear limits on how you spend your time, people begin to value the moments they have with you. The scarcity of your time makes it more meaningful. Whether in work or personal life, having the discipline to say no to things that do not align with your priorities ensures that your time is spent on what truly matters. Boundaries also create a sense of mystery and allure. When someone is too available, always willing to accommodate others, or constantly seeking approval, they lose the element of intrigue. But when you maintain a sense of independence, control over your own life, and the ability to say no when necessary, people become more drawn to you. They begin to respect and admire the way you carry yourself. The more you show that you do not need to be in every conversation, every event, or every situation, the more people realize the significance of your presence when you do choose to be there. Enforcing boundaries requires consistency. If you set a boundary but do not uphold it, people will not take it seriously. It is important to follow through with actions that align with the standards you set. If someone repeatedly crosses a line and there are no consequences, they will continue doing so. Standing firm in your decisions ensures that people understand that your boundaries are not flexible based on convenience.